Pop culture is more than just entertainment. It's a lens into society, relationships, and human behavior. I'm Grace, and here on The Grace Report, we dive into stories beyond the headlines. Whether it's reality TV drama, celebrity scandals, or royal family intrigue, I'm here to break it all down. What it means, why it matters, and how it reflects the world we live in. Join the conversation, share your take, and let's make sense of the culture shaping our lives one story at a time. Friday to you. I hope your day is off to a fantastic start. Listen, guys, when I tell you I am sweating like a hooer in church, it is 30 degrees today. I went out for my afternoon walk and I came home. And listen, my afternoon walk is like 15 minutes. I came home drenched in sweat, drenched in sweat. It's hot outside, but I love it. Y'all know I love the heat, but it is hot outside. I'm supposed to have a spin class in like 2 hours. And so I kind of put it on like pause. I said, listen, I'm not sure if I'm going to be able to make it because it's hot and they don't have AC here. So imagine spin in 30-degree weather with no AC. Not so sure I could survive that. So nice to see y'all here. We've got Gwen in the building, Milan, Ramster. Ramster, that's so sweet. You postponed your grocery shopping to be here. Thank you, Ramster. That is so sweet. Wow. We've also got Gala here, Becky, Michelle, Jenny as well, Tadisha, Mrs. H, Kristen. We've got a K show. So nice to have y'all here. Venetia, Alexa, Jody, Allie, Leah, Crazy Dalmatian Lady. Yes, Leah, we haven't seen you in a bit. So nice to have you back, boo. Nice to have you too, Alexa. Good morning. Good morning. Umu. Good morning, Laura, K Car, Monica, Porsha. Coming out the bushes, girl. Nice to see you, boo. And nice to see you too, Ashley. How many Ashleys are we at right now? We're at 2 Ashleys, right? Typically, we can have like 5 Ashleys. Ashley's link up. If you're in the bushes, at least pop in and say hello. Ashley's assemble. We've got so much to talk about in today's episode of the Morning Report, y'all. Truly. We have to talk about, hang on a minute. What are they talking about? Hang on. Jenelle Evans from Teen Mom, she went in on her ex-husband, David Eason, and his girlfriend. We also have to talk about the Coldplay cheating scandal that took over the internet yesterday. That was insane, right? We've also got Denise Richards sharing evidence or alleged evidence of her husband, Aaron, allegedly getting physical with her. So trigger warning on that. It is gruesome. 90 Day Fiancé star Leida Margaretha. Do you guys remember that? How she and her husband, they just got arrested for a DV, and then their 5-week-old daughter had passed away as well. Well, it looks like she was trying to flee the US and she got arrested. Shout out to Starcasm for breaking that exclusive. We're going to get into that. Simon Guobadia is suing his ex-wife, Porsha Williams, as well. Tracee Ellis Ross is talking about how she only travels with 2 pairs of panties. I need you guys' opinions on that, please. Wendy Williams was out celebrating her birthday with her friend Suzanne from the show and a lawyer, still talking about trying to get out of her conservatorship. We've got Lindsie Chrisley explaining why she changed her last name on social media despite not being married. And finally, Luigi Mangione, you guys. I got a new photo of him for y'all, and we got to give a little bit of an update on what's going on with his case, okay? So nice to have all of you here. I'm seeing more of you streaming in as well. So good morning, Rachel, Mac as well. So nice to have you here. And yes, so glad you're spending your day off with us, Mac. We've also got Laura in the house as well. She wants to, yes, me too. I love, honestly, that show Recess, like it really reflects life when it comes to, hey, Ashley number 3. So nice to see you, boo. I grew up with so many Ashleys, so many Michelles, a lot of Cassandras and Emily's. I didn't really know many Emmas, despite that being the number 1 name, by the way. But those are the names that I remember the most. And Samantha's as well. We had a lot of Samanthas. Hey, Alyssa, nice to see you. Nice to see you, Lucky, as well. And Cynthia. Whoop, whoop, whoop. so nice. And welcome to everybody else as well. I'll be in the shadows today, so I'm looking forward a good listen and laugh with y'all. We got you, boo. We've got so much to talk about, so stay tuned. Leah says, I haven't been able to watch your morning reports live because I'm going to esthetician school. Woo! An educated baddie. I love that. What are you trying to specialize in esthetician school? Is this like for like beauty, right? Like skincare sort of thing, like to help people like have like good skin and whatnot? Like, oh, wow, this is amazing stuff. Congrats, Leah. That is awesome. And speaking of Leah, we had a lot of Leahs as well growing up. So Ashley says, Ashley gang, I used to have 3 friends named Ashley, like the Ashley Simpson Ashley in school. They used to call us the Ashley's clique. You guys I hope that you guys took advantage of that and dressed up as the Ashleys for Halloween. I wish, you know what, but here's the thing. This is the thing about like living abroad is a lot of people don't have the same frame of reference for you. So if I gathered up my girlfriends and said, hey, let's dress up as the Ashleys, they'd be like, who are the Ashleys? And I'm like, oh yeah. Oh yeah, they don't have the same frame of reference as us. And it's kind of, dommage. It's a little bit too bad, but I digress. Listen, that's a story for another day. Listen, why don't we get into the Coldplay story? This one has been on my mind since I saw the viral video last night. Absolutely insane. So there's the CEO from Astronomer. His name is Andy Byron. And he was caught having an affair at a Coldplay concert on the Coldplay Kiss Cam. And that woman with him, his affair partner, is the president of HR. And then I'm going to play the video for you. But the lady next to them, who's looking absolutely mortified as the mistress tries to hide behind her. She's like, get away from me. I'm mortified. That lady worked in HR as well. And apparently she recently got promoted. The whole thing is a mess. Did you guys see this going viral on TikTok? Take a look at it. And then, of course, we're going to come back and discuss it all.
Yeah. Oh, look at these two. All right. Come on. You're okay? Oh, what? Either they're having an affair or they're just very shy. I'm not quite sure.
Saying that Chris Martin clocked it too. He said either they're having an affair or they're extremely shy. Yup, lo and behold, that's exactly what they were doing. So here's my thing. Y'all know I can't stand cheaters. Like, what is the point? Just leave the person, right? If you don't want to be in that relationship, and just move on. Why do this to somebody, right? So apparently his wife, she woke up to the news about this affair because everybody found her online. They started tagging her. So she reacted by taking his last name off of her last name. She had the 2 last names on her Facebook profile. So it looks like she means business. On top of him having a wife, she has a husband and both of them have children. So to destroy your family and to be so brazen as to show up to a concert like this, as if you're a legitimate couple and whatnot, it's just so sad and so disgusting. And, I was telling this to my sister yesterday when we were chatting on the phone. I said, I think that either his wife or her husband prayed for a sign. They probably felt like something was off and they said, please, 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 God, universe, whatever, give me a sign that I'm not crazy and this person is really having an affair on me. And then God said, here you go, boom. Has that ever happened to you guys? Like when you're like, I need a sign, I need a sign. This happened to me once, right? When I was getting cheated on, y'all. I was like, I need a sign. I'm feeling so suspicious. I feel like something's up. Literally 2 days later, my bestie, hey, Julie, she sends me, she doesn't send it to me first. She goes, hey, Grace, what are you doing? Because I have to send you something. And lo and behold, it was a full-blown video of what I was suspecting, like, I think that that's what happened, you guys. I really, really do. But again, to do that to your spouse, to do that to your children, absolutely insane, so shameful and so selfish. I hope they both lose their jobs over this. And I hope that they both lose big in divorce court. May his wife get all his money. Don't even leave him with rotten cheese in the fridge. Don't even leave him with a fridge, not even a white refrigerator, y'all. Nothing for him. And for her too, I hope the husband gets everything. Ashley says an affair at a Coldplay concert is the most Caucasian thing. When you said this, it reminded me of that girl from Married at First Sight, which was talking about like Caucasian sex. I didn't even see that. You know, at a Coldplay concert, it's absolutely insane. It really, really is. I don't get it. And thank you, Rachel. So nice to have you here, boo. Jody, nice to see you, boo. Nice to see you. Happy cleaning. Ali says soon to be ex-CEO and ex-husband. Exactly. I think these two have brought so much shame to the business. Listen, the fact that they both work there in this company, they both have such big jobs. He is the CEO. She is the head of HR. I don't know how they're going to be able to navigate this, right? I think that they're going to, you know, something's going to happen. I really do think that he's going to have to step down or something like that. I'm not sure, but I really, really do feel like it's going to come down to that, because this is just so freaking embarrassing, absolutely embarrassing to the company. It truly is. Lex says the funniest part is if they acted normally, exactly, right? But I guess their conscience was just so guilty that they couldn't just play it off and do like a little dancer. Like, no, that's crazy, y'all. That is absolutely crazy. But again, I really do feel like their spouses, at least one of them, prayed like hell for a sign. And so everything played out exactly as it should have. Now you just have to download those TikToks and bring it to divorce court and ask for, you know, one of those fault divorces where you get, you know, really cash in. And I agree, Alexa, they truly deserve it. Now let's see if this relationship of theirs is going to last now that they've been exposed, right? Because that's how it is some of the times, right? They're having fun. They think you're so this, so that, because they don't have to like be responsible, you know, and actually be present 100% for you. So now when it comes to time to that and everybody leaves you and you've got each other, do you even really like each other like that? Only time will tell, right? Typically the answer is no, but come on. Absolutely crazy stuff, you guys. I'm so floored. And so to see that the HR girl, the HR junior girl, like knew about it too, listen, like, it sucks for her that he even has her face being plastered, because maybe she doesn't approve, but these are her bosses. What's she going to do? You know, there's nothing she can do about that. People are hoping for her to get fired. But me personally, I think it's just the two of them in the affair that should face consequences. And then the other people in a work hierarchy, you don't want to lose your job over a random, you know, spouse or whatever, right? Like, I don't know your spouse, but what you're doing is not cool, but what can I do, right? Max says allegedly the HR lady just divorced her husband. Did she? Okay, so she's not having the affair. He's the only one. Okay, listen, more on her, but still at the same time, to be doing that with a married man is so gross. And she knew she was wrong, or else she wouldn't have jumped that way. She was the first one to react when they were put on that kiss cam. Oh my God, that kiss cam keeps getting people in trouble. This is not the first time that we've seen like some drama on a kiss cam that suggested an affair, but it is the most disturbing version. You see, Alexa, it's terrible. It's just such a sign of terrible character, like no integrity, and it's just disgusting. I'm sorry, but I think cheaters are losers. Tanisha says, I hope Andy's wife takes him for everything. Just embarrassing. Andy's statement was trash too. I saw it on Twitter. By the way, thank you for bringing that up. Apparently it's fake or something, because his company, well, he actually came out and said that he's disappointed that people are releasing fake statements on his behalf. So at this point, I don't know what to believe, to be honest with you. I do think that he should apologize, but I think that somebody like selfish enough to blow up their own family like that, like, you know, with an affair, like probably wouldn't want to take responsibility and publicly apologize and admit fault. Allie says, this is why mistresses are kept in the hotel rooms, not taken to exactly. What are you doing going to a concert? They probably, so this was in the next state over. They're from one state. And then the concert, I think, was in Boston. So they were like, oh, like we're going to a different state. No one would ever know. Boom. Not in this digital age. Everybody is going to freaking know. My God, right? Absolutely disgusting. And honestly, their spouses need to go and take STD tests ASAP, because I wouldn't even be surprised if this were just one of many mistresses, if this were just one of many men. You know what I mean? Like people like this, they might not even be faithful to each other outside of their marriages. So there might be more people. So please get yourselves tested. Very scary stuff. Ray says the truth will always, yes, find a way to come to light, period. Always. You cannot hide the bad things that you do. This is why you should just always do the right thing. You will not be able to hide this stuff forever. And it's not worth it, right? And it's just so harmful to everybody involved. Most importantly, your children. Thanks so much, Honey Badger. Yes, my OG, so nice to see you. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Are you from Panama? Is that the Panama flag? Oh my God. Wow. Hello, hello, hello. So lovely. And good morning to the rest of you tuning in as well. I'm seeing more of you guys flowing in. Listen, it is so hot. I don't know if you can tell how much I'm sweating. I'm sweating. My brain is melting. It is hot as balls over here, you guys. Listen, why don't we cool down a little bit with the Jenelle Evans of it all, okay? So disgraced former Teen Mom 2-star Jenelle Evans hosted an Ask Me Anything session on her Instagram page where she responded to a lot of her Instagram followers, questions, concerns, and comments about her life, which is very ironic because she's always trying to tell people to leave her alone, stay out of her business, this, that, and the other. But every time she feels a little bit starved for attention, she comes back and then, asks us to ask her questions. So I got some screenshots of some of the most interesting questions that people asked her in general, and I really want to share them with you guys, of course. So she is going to criticize her ex-husband, David Eason. She's going to criticize his new girlfriend, Kenleigh, he will as well. So get ready for all of that in this Ask Me Anything session. And then we also have to get into that salmon sperm facial that she's been raving about on social media. I think this is a paid ad or a paid collaboration that she did with an esthetician. And, it was just so funny. And you're going to see why when we get into that. Okay. But for the time being, why don't we start off with her Ask Me Anything session? Okay. So this is one of the first questions that somebody asked our Jenelle over on her Instagram page. So somebody asked her, what's your favorite part about being single again? So she says, being able to think freely. And, when I saw that, I said, you know what, Jenelle, that explains everything about you because you are supposed to always be thinking freely, whether you're single, married, dating, spreading it wide, laying it low, spreading it wide. You should always be thinking for yourself. So why is it that for you, as soon as you're in a relationship, you can no longer think for yourself and you have to mold yourself around whatever your boyfriend of the day or your husband of the day wants you to be, right? Very, very strange stuff. And it's a very, very telling stuff. And it's sad, right? I find this to be rather, embarrassing for her. Like it's giving me a little bit of secondhand embarrassment for her, but I digress. Of course, there were more interesting questions asked to Jenelle as well. So let's keep this train going. Someone said, how are you? Have you had time to start the healing process from your last relationship? To which Jenelle responds, I'm doing good. Staying to myself mostly. I'm still in the process of healing and grieving from other things that have happened within the past year. That's why it's important for me not to start another new relationship, which I think is fair, right? Like, you know what? If you feel like you're still healing, you still need time for yourself, go ahead, take that time for yourself and don't just automatically jump to the next relationship. But is it true that she's actually doing that? I don't know, because one thing about Jenelle is she's going to jump, y'all. She does that kangaroo from relationship to relationship, which, listen, if you want to have these little hookups of this or that, that's okay. But stop introducing them to your kids. I think that's the biggest thing about her and Kale. Nobody really genuinely cares how many people they're hooking up with or this or that. It's just that, in Kale's case, she's having kids with everybody, right? Without even really knowing them. And then introducing them to her children. And then same thing in Jenelle's case, where she's introducing them to her children way too soon. Somebody said, why doesn't David see Ensley? To which Jenelle responded, waiting on a psych evaluation from him. So that's the thing, y'all, right? David is supposed to be seeing his daughter. He's claiming that Jenelle is keeping him from his daughter. However, that is not the actual issue. The actual issue is that he is refusing to submit to a psychological evaluation. And that's what he needs to do in order to have access to his daughter, right? So he's that typical deadbeat dad when they're not doing the thing that they're supposed to be doing. And instead of doing what they're supposed to do, they're blaming it on the baby mama. They're saying, oh, she's trying to keep me from my kids, blah, blah. This is estrangement. Like it's the classic script, right? And it's so sad to see his new girlfriend, Kenleigh, falling for it, right? So you've got Kenleigh advocating for David, and acting like Jenelle is this person that's keeping him from his kids and whatnot. Like, it's just so sad how there's always like some girl ready to sign up and ride for a deadbeat, right? Like, this guy has multiple baby mamas, custody of no children right now. Meanwhile, all the women are the problem. Okay. Laura says, because Jenelle doesn't have her own personality. Exactly. And that's what I don't understand. Here's like, is it not the dream of everybody to be financially free to the point where you could do whatever it is that you want to do with your days, right? Like, get hobbies, do things. I was actually just talking about this with my friend. I stumbled upon, this brand that I really like for like housewear. They're selling things like mohair wool or whatever that material is, and like the wool and this and that. And they're trying to like get people into knitting. And I was like, oh my God, how cool would it be to have nothing to do all day where you can explore all of these exciting different hobbies, right? So Jenelle, she is making a killing through OnlyFans, and she was making a killing through Teen Mom once upon a time. Yet she doesn't really have any hobbies of her own that she's doing to really be productive and to really fill her time. There are so many incredible hobbies out there waiting for her to discover them. I would kill to be in the position where all I had to do was, do a little bit here and there, right, to keep that cash cow going from MTV, and then dedicate the rest of my time to doing hobbies. Like, that's so crazy to me how some people have literally no interest in like learning anything new. I would love to be knitting right now. I would love to improve my sketching or my watercolor painting skills and whatnot. Like, I would kill for this. Anyway, it pisses me off. I'm not gonna lie. It pisses me off. Maybe jealousy. Ramster says Janelle's new boyfriend in 3-2. Listen, he's already in the wings. That's the thing about her. She's such a hypocrite. She'll say something, and if you don't know who she really is behind the scenes or whatever, you might even fall for it. Meanwhile, behind the scenes, it's a completely different story. And that's why you can never really take what people are saying to you or preaching to you on social media at face value. Sometimes people are talking from the perspective of who they wish they were, not who they actually are. All right, they're manifesting it. Hey, Bree says, I swear Jenelle be doing everything but parenting Jace. That poor kid, period, y'all. Like, and I feel for him. I really do. Like, he really lost out in the draw when it came to who your parents are. And that's the thing that's really sad, right? You know who else lost? Krishan and Blueface's son. There was like this thing that leaked the other day on the internet about like the son and the things he was born with. And it's just drugs in his system, these withdrawals, the this and that. Like, I just don't get it. Like, why do people do this to children? Like, you don't have to have children. Like, if you do not want to be a responsible, healthy parent, don't do it. You're not obligated to. It just makes me so freaking sad. And so, in Jace's case, like, there's a lot of like these mental and emotional things that he'll always have to deal with because of the way that he was so traumatized by his mother, right? And by his father abandoning him. And I hate that for him. It's so unfair, right? And then when it comes to Krishan's son's case, it's like mental things, it's physical things. And then of course, psychological, emotional. It is so freaking sad, right? Becky, period. You know that. Exactly. My God. Anyway, you guys, I feel like I can go on about this forever. I really, really hate. And this is why I'm really against people pressuring, others to have kids, parents pressuring their children to have kids, society calling you selfish if you don't want to do it. Let people be selfish. It's better to be selfish and not have them than to be selfish and have them. Because look at the results of that, right? Keisha says, with an avowal for David, but defended him against Jace. Make it exactly. It's so freaking ridiculous. And that's the thing with her. Like, she's always going to go for whatever makes her look best or suit what it is that she wants in this like particular moment, to the detriment of her children and everybody else in her life. And it is so heartbreaking. It really, really is. I did see a comment earlier on. I'm going to try to find it. I don't know what's happening with my computer, by the way. It's lagging a bit, which is crazy because it completely emptied all of the data. So it should be going quicker than ever, but I digress. Laura had said nothing about Jenelle ever seems mature or grown up enough to even parent her kids. Jenelle as a single mom is a terrifying thought. And isn't that sad? Thank God she finally tied her tubes. But why did you go and have 3 children? You don't like kids. You don't actually want to be a mom, like, come on, why go and put these kids through that? That is so freaking sad. By the way, Leah was telling us that she's in esthetician school, so she's got some deets for us. I'm already a licensed massage therapist, and I own my own. Entrepreneur, yes, business, but it will help my practice to offer facials and waxing. I love that. Get that, Fred. Congrats, Leah. That is amazing. I love an entrepreneur. Good for you. And hi, SW. Nice to see you from Germany. So nice. Guten Morgen. Well, actually, it's not the morning. It's the afternoon. So I'm going to have to look up how to say good afternoon. So I'll be ready for you. Ramster, can you help me? How do you say a good afternoon in German? Where's Kaiser and all this is a great question, Jada. I think he's the forgotten child. This is the classic middle child thing, right? So, and you know what? In Janelle's case, all the children are forgotten middle children, because I was going to say, like for example, Jay, oh, well, you know, Jay, she kind of shipped him away, right? And then she had to take him back because that wasn't working out either. And then with her daughter, Ensley, like, I think that's the one that she spends most time with. But is she like good to her daughter? I don't know. Right? Like, is she capable of it? I don't know. Oh, thank you. Kaylin says it's good day. Lex says it's guten Tag. Oh, yes, I love that. You know, one of my favorite souvenirs I ever picked up for somebody as a gift. They loved it so much. When I was in, I think it was in Munich. I'm going to have to look at my fridge magnet later on. Yeah, I think it was in Munich. Or was it Frankfurt? It was like this beer, like what do you call like a big thing of beer? I forgot. A glass of pints from Germany. And they thought it was the best gift. And they still have it 5 years later. So shout out to you guys for that amazing gift. It was only like €5 or something like that. But it was so special to somebody, which I think is really, really sweet. Guten Morgen. Really? Okay, y'all. Guten Morgen. Guten Tag. I love it. You know what else I loved? I didn't talk about it on my channel, but I loved Love is Blind Germany. I thought those were a really good season. And I'm looking forward to the next season of that. But listen, that's just me going besides the point. Thanks for the German lesson, by the way, you guys. Somebody else asked, did you ever hear back from Love Island? So do not forget, you guys, that Jenelle Lauren Evans tried to make it onto Love Island as a bombshell. Jenelle Lauren Evans as a bombshell on Love Island. The delusion goes so freaking hard with her. And instead of accepting that they're not interested in you, Jenelle, because you're not, no offense, but you're not bombshell material, right? And on top of that, like, you're a seasoned criminal. You're a seasoned criminal, you know, who only temporarily or occasionally has custody of her children. Like, they're not going to put you as a bombshell. What did she say? No, I didn't hear back from them. I tried. They probably only want super skinny or super fit girls. They want people who are not seasoned criminals. They want people who do not lose custody of their children every other year. They want drama, but they don't want this, you know, like, I just find it to be so, come on now. You know what I mean? When it comes to Jenelle, come on now, be real with yourself. But you know what? Listen, ambition, you cannot knock people for having ambition. So shout out to you and your ambition at the very least. What, you know, a lot of you guys watched this season of Love Island. So I do have to ask, so why do you think that they didn't put Jenelle as a hottie on the show? And if they had put Jenelle as a hottie on the show, do you think that, like, she would have been able to score? Actually, this is going to be my question. Mic check, 1 2 1 2. If you're watching in the live chat, let me know. Or if you're part of my playback posse, let me know in the comment section, okay? If Love Island had accepted Jenelle Lauren Evans as a bombshell, who of the guys do you think would have gone for her, if anybody? I'm just curious. I'm thinking about it. I'm like, would Nick have gone for her? No. Would Ace have gone for her? No. Would Taylor? No. Would Austin? Maybe. Maybe Austin is the only one I would say. Who else was there in the guys? The guys were so unremarkable to me this season that I really can barely remember. Jeremiah? Hell no. I think the only guy who would have potentially, maybe, and that's reaching, gone for Jenelle from the show would have been Austin. Allie says TJ. Really? TJ, my TJ? I don't think so, Allie. Really? You think so? BY says Austin. You see? Austin, I think so. I could see Austin going for him, you know, mega Austin, backwoods Austin. Raven says, would they want a single mom with 3 kids? I don't think so. I don't. You know, Huda already having just 1 child was a lot for them, right? So I don't know that they would accept that. 3 kids, 20 mugshots, 3 baby daddies. Like, where's the bombshell in that? Where's the catch? Like, I'm not seeing the catch. Laura hates that Janelle's middle name is Lauren because my name is Laura. I'm sorry. Isn't it sad when like trashy reality stars ruin names for you? I keep telling y'all, I used to love the name Nathan. I used to find it to be, especially Nathaniel. I used to find it to be so bougie, this and that, but then Nathan came along and I said, ruined. K-Car says she's too old for Love Island, the delusion with this girl. And that's the sad part. It's true. Listen, I'm around Janelle's age. I think I'm only about a year younger, but it's true. It's true. We are too old for Love Island. It's for them 20 babies, right? 20s babies. Ali says they want more of a polished look. And I think so too, right? Like, no offense to Jenelle, but nothing about her gives like polished. You don't even have to be bougie. You just have to look like together. And nothing about her gives, you know, I've got it together or anything like that. Keisha says they want people who aren't so delusional, right? Listen, we already had Huda there. That was enough. Not too much now. Laura says no felons, even though being a felon ain't illegal. Ramster says the guy holding the camera. Is this a shout out to Andrew going after Amber after she acted like a freaking crazy lady on Marriage Boot Camp? Lord. Ashley says Janelle doesn't have the personality or look for Love Island. LOL. Plus her age. She's in her 30s with kids and mugshots. Exactly. I'm sorry, Janelle, but it was just never going to happen for you, boo. Ever. But we appreciate you trying and bringing attention to the show. Ali says TJ turned his nose up at all the other women, but a select few. Maybe he likes them like that. I don't know. Really? Yeah, that's the thing about TJ. You know, did I tell you guys that I felt this way on the show, or was I talking to my friend Julie? I think TJ is kind of like sad. He has very sad eyes and he never actually smiles. Like TJ gives me kind of like depressed vibes, if I could be honest with you guys. Like something about him gave off the air of profound sadness. And I found that like it always tugged at my heartstrings when I would see him on the show. I'd be like, what's up with this guy? I want to know more about him. He's so standoffish. Like his eyes don't sparkle. He doesn't have like a smile. You know, like, look, let me give y'all a smile. No, like, you know, like a smile when people smile, when they're talking, when they're like, he doesn't have that. Like he'll talk like this. Yeah. So I'm having a good day. And then his eyes will be like this. Like it makes me so like curious about him. I'm really intrigued by TJ. I would like to see, you know, some of his interviews to learn a little bit more about him, what brought him to the show and everything, because reality TV doesn't seem to be something that he's made for. So I'm curious about like what he's hoping, you know, for out of his life. I don't see him being like a career reality star or anything like that. I don't know. He just gives me, you know, like how like the tortured soul vibes. He really does. But anyway, that's a story for another day. So there are two more questions that I screenshotted from her Ask Me Anything session that I did want to share with you. Somebody says, and is the father involved in the kids' lives? Hope not, because you deserve so much stress-free. So none of her 3 baby daddies are involved in their children's lives, which is so sad. Like, I feel like, okay, if you have like one baby daddy who like turns out to be garbage and isn't involved in your kids' lives, you know, that can happen, right? Like it's really sad, obviously, but it can happen. But to have 3 and none of them, like, oh my God, that's truly heart-wrenching. It is. Oh my God, like that's rough. It is, right? Like I cannot at all imagine. Listen, Kiel might have 4 baby daddies, but all 4 of her baby daddies know their kids and all 4 of them want to be involved in these children's lives. I know that there was a moment where Chris was not all that and he tried to relinquish his custody of the children, but that was years ago. And ever since he has been involved in his children's lives. So there is that. But in Janelle's case, it's just not really the thing. It seems like the guys that got with her only got with her to trap her, right? Like keep her the MTV money, the camera time and everything. And then as soon as all that was over, the mask fell away and they left. And I find that to be very sad for her and for her kids. You guys, I've been reading Janelle's memoir with my channel members, and the most recent chapter that we read, you know what I'll do? Actually, let me go ahead and find some excerpts for you guys. Okay. It's a little bit besides the points, but listen, it's Friday, which means I'm feeling a little bit more free. So I want to bring up some of these things for you guys, because actually what Janelle was sharing in her book was very, very sad. And it made me feel very empathetic towards her and all that she's going through. Because if you guys also watch 90 Day Fiancé, do you know Darcy from that show? Like she's a mess, like, and she just wants love so bad. And she just hasn't been able to find it. Even her new husband, Dimitri, like he doesn't, or what is his name? Georgie. He doesn't seem like all that. And it's just so sad. And you're wondering like, what is going on with these girls? Right? So let me read to you what some of the stuff that we were reading from Jenelle's memoir. So she shared some stuff from her journal entries, and it is so freaking sad. And I think that she still is this little girl deep down. Okay, so let's get into what some of her diary entries were about. She was telling her diary, a lot happened this summer, like got in trouble with an 18-year-old. See, ever since she was about 12, 13 years old, I think she was 12 or 13 at this point, she was just so starved for like an older man. Like, this is daddy issues at play, right? Like, I feel like people throw that around a lot in a derogatory term, but like, honestly, this is daddy issues at play. She was dealing with 18-year-old men from as young as 12, 13 years old, right? And now my mom doesn't love me anymore. She wishes I dropped dead. And that hurts me so, etc. much. And now I have no one to love me. I'm just sitting here listening to Mockingbird by Eminem. I want to be sent to a foster home. I want to tell my mom that I'm sorry for being born because I know I was just, and then it keeps on going. But when I was reading this about her just looking for love, like so desperately that she's getting involved with like creeps, right? Like obviously as a child, she didn't know those were creeps, but still. And then like, because her mom is trying to protect her by telling her, stay away from these like creepy men, she feels like her mom doesn't love her and like nobody loves her. And she's just depressed. Like, it's so sad. It is so freaking sad. And there was more I wanted to share with you. Okay. Again, this is an excerpt from her memoir that I've been reading with my channel members. No one knows. I'm so sick of crying at night and to not be kissed or even hugged at night. Oof. And to be told to go live with my dad if I hate her so much. But I don't. I love her. She's the best mom I can have. But she treats me like I'm not alive and doesn't trust me with anything. I do. But then she won't let me delete myself because she'll go to jail or something. Isn't that like, that part was like the one that brought tears to my eyes when she was talking about how hard it is with her mom. She doesn't feel loved and her mom feels like she hates her, but she loves her and she thinks her mom is the best mom ever. And like, just from watching her on the show over like a decade and stuff, you're like, wow, like that's how she really feels deep down. Like she didn't have that like closeness with like her mom or anything like that. And that's what she really needed. You know, I think it was Chelsea who's got on the show, or maybe I was talking to my sister about this. I remember like this being a thing about like children's love languages and how you need to cater to each child's individual love language. And it really feels like Jenelle's love language as a child was physical touch, right? She wanted to have hugs with her mom. She wanted like for her mom to kiss her and tell her like, she loves her. And she just didn't get that. And so this is like a lifelong scar for Jenelle, it feels like. And I really, really do feel for her. And you see it play out over and over throughout her adulthood, right? So this is the last little excerpt that I'm going to share with you guys before I get into your comments. I think this is the part that shocked me the most. So you know how she was saying that she wants to go to foster care or something like that? I want to be sent away far from any of my family. And I mean that. And she's also canceling modeling because she thinks I'm too ugly for it. Also, she's canceling it because she tells me I'm a little something, right? So at first you see this stuff and you go, oh my God, like her mom told her she was too ugly to be a model. Her mom this, no. In the next page, Jenelle says that she was feeling dramatic because she was feeling sad and depressed and just like going to like the most extreme, right? Like the childish dramatics of it all. But there's something to what she's saying there. And it's so freaking sad. It really, really is. I don't know, y'all. I don't know. Like I feel for her in that respect. I really, really do. Now, let me see what y'all have to say about that. Okay. Oh my God. Y'all have left so many comments in here. Let me see. Laura says her book was good. I'll agree with that. Kaylin says 12-year-old Jenelle talks better than Kale nowadays. Laura says, I think she got stuck with and won't ever find what she's looking for. And it's so cheesy and it's so corny to say, but I feel like I say it every time, but it's true. So hopefully, like if this is something that you're feeling in your own life, this can resonate with you. But everything that she's seeking outside of herself, she needs to find within herself and give to herself. So things on the outside for Jenelle or like Darcy from 90 Day Fiancé won't change until they give themselves the love, right? The assurance that they are seeking from other people. All other people are doing is reflecting to them how they treat themselves, how they speak to themselves, and how they feel about themselves. So I feel like once they get that part and really start looking within, and again, it's so cheesy, but I think it's true. I think everything is going to to change for them on the outside. And I agree, Laura, like it's so creepy. Like, why is it so common for these creepy, like, 18, 19-year-old guys, men, to be creeping after 12, 13-year-old girls? Like, it's so weird that she's had so many run-ins with them, right? Exactly, Lucky. Like, it is so freaking sad. My heart really broke for Jenelle. And so now I do see her in a completely different perspective. I always suspected that this is how she like really felt and everything like that. And same here, Laura, like that one about the mom and stuff too. And just, it's really heartbreaking. It really, really is. Jenelle's mom never loved her the way she needed. Lots of moms are jealous of their girl kids. Weirdest things, right? Keisha says it's a delusion for me. You don't know what to believe. RL says generational trauma. It's true. This family is just full of it. And speaking of the generational trauma, she did talk about how her brother Colin, so Jenelle's brother Colin, like he's very unwell, right? He's the one who was starting fires in the house. He's the one who's like burning rats or like killing rats or whatever. Like he's very unwell. And so she said that her mom's own brother was the same way. He's never been able to live independently. He lives with Barbara's mom, who has since passed away, of course, right? And so Jenelle said in the book that she feels like her brother Colin is the same way, and she doesn't think that he too will ever be able to live independently. But it's also like Ramster saying, and also with you again, RL, yeah, it's generational trauma, but she passed it down too. Listen, y'all, therapy, like there's just, it makes me so sad. I wish that she did the work on herself before having kids, or even chose not to have them, because it's sad to see this continue to go on and on and on. You have to find a way to break the cycle. Sometimes that's going to therapy. Sometimes that's not having kids. Just saying. Very sad. Anyway, let's see what else we had here in the AMA. I think I might have been at the end of it, but this might have been. So this is where she talks about her deadbeat ex-husband, David Eason, the dog killer of all dog killers, who, by the way, I still can't believe this man is not sitting in a jail cell somewhere, right? But I digress. So anyway, she was asked about his girlfriend. What do you think about David's new girlfriend? To which Jenelle responded, don't like her. From day one of them being together, she made fun of me for having OnlyFans. Then she posted some from there. So I guess she took Jenelle's pictures from OnlyFans and posted them, or she has her own OnlyFans. I don't understand. She should have stayed out of my business, and I wouldn't have any judgment towards her. Her intentions show clearly the type of person she is. Clout chaser. Sick of her constantly commenting on my life when I never even met this girl. So yeah, not to the surprise of nobody, Jenelle does not like her ex-husband's new girlfriend. And honestly, can you blame her? Like I think that she and Kenleigh are both well within reason to not like the other person, right? I'm sure that David has done things to turn them both against each other and everything. But here's the good thing, depending on how you look at it anyway, because overall the situation is sad. But the good thing is, because David is not involved with their daughter, Jenelle at least doesn't have to have contact with him or Kenleigh, right? Like if David were an involved father, by now Jenelle would have met Kenleigh and would have had to have certain sorts of interaction with her. So the fact that she's been spared that by virtue of him being a deadbeat, like it's a little bit of a win, although it's sad for the daughter that the father has not shown up. But this is the thing. I really need for some people to make better choices. Like, what are you doing having kids with somebody who already lost custody of one of their kids and was facing DV charges? Like, let's think a little bit more, right? Like before we do this to our children. Just saying. Keisha says, yeah, exactly. She came back and contradicted the stuff that she was saying about Barbara. So Barbara did not tell Jenelle growing up that she was ugly and this and that, and that's why she's taking her out. She said that she was just being a little bit dramatic because she was only about 12 or 13 years old when she wrote the book. Oh my God, y'all, it's so hot. It's so hot. Is this like what it's like? Am I getting old or something? Because I used to like not really mind. I'd be like, we don't need AC. Now I'm like, please, I am going to go petition. We need AC. It is so hot. It's so hot. Acacia says she came back the next page. Oh, yes, we just read that. Yeah, and contradicted. Kaylin says, for real, he is a danger. And I agree. I just don't get why people are getting with him. Like, what is Kenleigh even doing with him? She's like a decent looking girl. She's got a job, a house, a car. She's got her own animals. Like, she couldn't have found anything better. Like, this guy, really? Anyway, and it's time to break the cycle indeed. Unfortunately, I do think that it's too late for her though. I think she should have really invested in therapy, but she's the same person who came and told us that she tried to go to therapy. And the therapist told her, Jenelle, what are you doing here? You're the most well-adjusted person I've ever seen in my life. You don't need therapy. Like, that's how unwell she is. That is how unwell she is. Hey, Jaleesa, before I get to your comment, I do have to ask you, girl, how are you doing so far? Like, are you feeling better? Are things advancing? Like, where are you in your recovery and healing journey? So for those who don't know, Jaleesa had a very, very, very shocking and unfortunate car accident before she was supposed to come to France for the Fiancé concert and everything. And so she's been healing from that. But I've been thinking about you and I really need an update, please, 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 on how you're doing now, okay? Jaleesa says she really wanted love growing up, but has 3 opportunities to work on that and heal her inner child. Exactly. That is a beautiful thing about children, right? I do think that by loving your children and by pouring into your children, you do also get to heal your inner child, right? And giving them the things you never got to have. So the fact that that doesn't interest her at all is crazy to me. It's crazy. Like, she has all the tools she could possibly need to heal, to feel that love. And she's just not capable of it. And I find that to be absolutely insane. I can't. Hey, Shelby, nice to see you, boo. Can't wait to catch you on the Playback Posse. Acacia says, ladies, self-love is everything. Exactly. Self-love is the key to everything. If you want healthier relationships, not only romantic, but friendship, familial, with yourself, just practice self-love. One small thing every single day, even if it's just a little gratitude journal, something every single day. I hate to see my girls fall into these sorts of relationships and situations and patterns. Like, self-love, please. It is the key to everything. So for his part, David, he saw that Jenelle was out here doing and asking me everything, right? So he said, wait a minute, me too. So he decided to ask his followers to ask him questions. And so these are some of the responses that he gave, okay? And I'm sure that he has his burner account to follow Jenelle. Well, listen, I can't hate. I have my burner account to follow Jenelle too. She accidentally blocked me on all platforms. I don't know how she did that, but it's been like that for a while. Someone said, is she, in regards to Kenleigh, is she the love of your life? She changed you for better. We all change opinion of you completely. Who's we? We all change opinion of David. Since when? Did you guys change your opinion of Dog Killer Dave? I sure as hell didn't. David says 100%. Listen, David's just happy to be fed and housed and clothed. Life was rough on that little boat, okay? Like, he was going into like McDonald's or something to brush his teeth, and I don't even know where he was going to shower. He's just happy to have a roof over his head. And I'm actually surprised that this lady has lasted this long. Listen, the freaking threshold that some people have for like BS and suffering is so fascinating to me. Y'all already know me. This is my threshold for BS with men and suffering. It's this. It used to be like this before the self-love, before the self-esteem work, but now it's this. And this is being generous, okay? So just to see this is so mind-blowing to me, but I digress. Anyway, this is the second question that somebody had asked Dog Killer Dave. Do you want more kids? He's literally threatening to have more children. David, how many kids live with you right now? 0. How many dollars do you have in the bank? 0. So what do you mean that you want more kids? How many jobs do you have? 0. How many brain cells do you have? 0. So what do you have to offer a child? What is this? Like, why do some people think so long and hard before even deciding to have just one child, right? And then some people, for them, who cares? I don't have any money for my child. I'm not stable. I don't have my own home. I don't have my own anything, right? I have a criminal record. I'm facing, criminal charges. Yeah, let me go ahead and have another one. I've lost custody of 2 of my kids. One of them is estranged from me, and she testified against me in court to how horrible I am and how much I traumatized her. But yeah, let me put another child through that. Like, some people really hate kids and they decide to have them so they can mistreat them and, expose them to just a world of garbage and suffering. And I find that to be so freaking sad. Oh God, it disgusts me. It really, really does. I just can't. I can't. And yes, Ramster, thank you for the trigger warning. Lord, this man really is something. And you know what, Raven? I struggle with that because on one hand, I'm like, maybe I do, but on the other hand, we all know who David Eason is. And I think she's a fan of the show too. So she's seen, right? And like all these women who have suffered before you. And you walk into this head first, like eyes wide open. I don't know. Like, that's crazy to me. Absolutely crazy. Laura says, I'm just glad I outed him as a homophobe because of the nasty ish he said to my child. You were saying it to your child? Why was he saying that to your child? What? Laura, good for you, Mama Bear. Oh my God. Because I remember him, you know, and how big of a scandal that was. But I didn't know I thought he was talking like in general. Wow. Good for you standing up for your child like that. He's such a garbage person. Oh, and you want to spawn again? Like, oh, please spare us. Spare the child. Teresa says, I'm okay. I'm in physical therapy 3 days a week. Wow, that's a lot. So I've been missing the morning report. I'm exhausted beyond belief, but I'm walking just extremely slowly. Oh, God. Thank you, thank you, thank you. I am happy that you are walking at least. Thank God. Oh, my God, Jaleesa. Thank you so much for the update. And again, I'm so sorry. That's absolutely devastating. Absolutely devastating. Listen, drunk drivers, y'all. Drunk drivers, the laws are not harsh enough against those people. Look what they do to other people, right? So if you can, guys, please, please, please send all of your best well wishes, thoughts, and prayers to Jaleesa as she recovers from this. Like, it's been a long road. It really has been. I think it's been about a month now at this point, right? It's been a long road, or at least 3 weeks. David is a drifter. Yeah, he absolutely is. That's why I don't get why this woman opened up her door to him. Like, if you fall on like a bad egg, right? Because a lot of people don't have any paper trail on them on the internet, right? But if you go, and as a woman, you should always look up anybody you're dating, right? So if you go and you get with this and you see all the articles about him killing dogs, losing custody of his children, just traumatizing children, abusing children, women, like, and you walk into that, like, what is wrong with you? Acacia says, David is still David. Like you said, David is only acting because he needs a home, money, and food. Exactly. And how are women turned on by this? Like, the idea of having a fully grown man in my house depending on me, I want to cry at the thought of it. I would not be able to handle it. Like, I truly couldn't. Like, what about this is appealing? Do you see this? I'm breaking out into hives. That's crazy to me. That is absolutely freaking insane to me. For what? Like, for what? You know, what's he going to offer me? Women, that stuff falls out of the sky. You don't need to pay for it, girls. Like, it's free. In fact, they're paying you for it. Like, come on now. Like, men are so desperate to bone. Like, for women, it's just, you have such easy access to it. You don't need to do that. Listen, for them, it's different. They might need to pay for it. But a woman, absolutely freaking not. What are you doing, Kenleigh? What are you doing? And he is. It's crazy. What is he doing? It's just, oh, stop it. Leave these children alone. My God, I wish he'd get a vasectomy. I really do. And yes, thank you, Kaylin. Listen, it took some work because the Grace of yesteryear, oh, she was weak. But listen, with experience, you get to this point, and I'm so happy to have arrived at this point. I really am. So thank you, girl. Venetia says, ladies, you need to love yourself first before you date anyone else. Exactly. Just make sure. And sometimes you think that you do, you think you're confident, and then you enter a relationship and you see the stuff you're accepting, you go, oh, wait a minute. Maybe I don't. Maybe I need to work on this. Like, yeah. So always try to be as introspective as possible. You'll learn so much about yourself and really save the future version of yourself by really taking the time to step back and reevaluate. Tadisha says he doesn't need a fish, let alone exactly more kids. Please don't get pregnant, Kenleigh. Please don't do it. RL says Dusty Dog Killer David wants more kids. Not surprised. He needs another anchor baby. That's what it is. He's trying to secure his housing a little bit more, but please, Kenleigh, I hope you're on serious birth control, the type of stuff, not the pill that he can go and change for other stuff. I hope you have like an implant or something. Please, girl, do not get pregnant by this man at all. I'm begging you. And so there was a final question that I found interesting from his Ask Me Anything session. And it was when somebody was basically asking him how life is going right now. And he says that it's getting better every day. So listen. Whatever, David, whatever. Anyway, I did want to talk to you guys about this, like, Jenelle I struggled to not pronounce the L in salmon. salmon, because I grew up pronouncing the L. That's how my parents taught me to pronounce it. So then I realized that it was kind of gauche to pronounce the L. So I always have to think about it before I do it. But bref. Jenelle, she did this ad for like a salmon sperm facial, which I found to be absolutely hilarious. Listen, I'm trying to play the video for you, but the video does not want to show up. But like, let me just show you the page because I find it just so funny. Listen, if you want to get salmon sperm smeared on your face, be my guest, right? But it's just, I think she was paid for this or she got the facial for free or whatever. It was so freaking funny to me. The way that they set it up. So basically what happens is you've got Jenelle lying there on like the client's like bed or whatever, right? And then you've got the lady doing the thing, okay, the facial. And so Jenelle is like lying there. She says, I'm going through a divorce. So these days the only sperm on my face is salmon sperm. And then the lady puts the salmon sperm on her face. I said, girl, were you not just bragging on TikTok the other day about how you are so much better than Amber and you're so much better than Caitlyn because those girls don't think about the implications for their children when they, do the stuff that they do online, like Amber's rants or Caitlyn, talking to minors and whatnot, right? And here you are shooting this weird, again, it's not the thing that's bad. It's just the way that she said it. I was like, girl, your kids are going to get clowned for this so hard. Because what is that? I just found that to be absolutely freaking hilarious. But I digress. Listen, if you guys have a moment, hopefully the video works for you guys, but that is the name of the article. If you want to go find the video on TMZ, it was so funny. Jenelle gets a load of this. Oh my, TMZ and their titles, y'all. Salmon sperm's the only stuff hitting my face. Like, how crazy is that? Like, absolutely insane. She truly is the gift that keeps on giving, isn't she? But not like a good gift, like a gift that you don't want to be given. Grace, that was rude. Listen, I have to go put myself on timeout and to drink some water. So I'm going to show you a word from some of our sponsors. Then when we get back, we're going to talk about Denise Richards submitting photos of bruises that she says were caused by her estranged husband, Aaron. And then we also have to get into the 90-Day Fiancé star who was seemingly trying to escape the United States after the passing of her 5-week-old daughter. Very creepy stuff. If you guys look, do you guys even recognize her? That's Leida, you guys. Leida used to have that black hair, but it appears as though she freshly dyed her hair or got a wig or something to try and disguise herself so that she can get out of the U.S., even though that there are open charges against her. Simon Guobadia is suing his African queen, Porsha, Nigeria Williams. We're going to get into that. Tracee Ellis Ross walking around on vacation with only 2 pairs of underwear. Wendy Williams wanting the end to her conservatorship. And then Kail Lowry's podcast co-host, Lindsie Chrisley, changing her last name on social media to her boyfriend's last name, even though she and he broke up like 2 months ago, and lots more. Oh yeah, we also have to get into the latest Luigi Mangione photo as well. So much more to talk about. So if you guys are just joining us now, don't worry, we're only halfway through. We still have a lot more in today's episode of The Morning Report. We got a word from some of our sponsors first. Please make sure to give this stream a thumbs up if you're enjoying it. That would be really, really helpful for me and my channel. And I'll catch you guys on the flip side. Bye now. The Morning Report is brought to you by Philo. Watch your favorite shows and movies from over 70 different channels, including MTV, TLC, WeTV, and more for only $28 a month. Get a free trial today by clicking the link in the description box of this video to get your free trial up and running. Tired of learning languages in boring, frustrating ways? Try TalkPal. TalkPal is your personal AI language tutor. It teaches you languages in fun, engaging ways. It gives you real-time feedback, assesses your pronunciation, and the learning process is personalized just for you. Join millions of other learners and start your language learning journey today. And we are back, you guys. So much more to talk about in today's episode of The Morning Report. Next up on our docket, major trigger warning, you guys, because it is about DV. let's get into the story. It's a very, very sad story, okay? So former Real Housewives of Beverly Hills star Denise Richards is firing back against her estranged husband, Aaron Pfeiffer. He filed for divorce against her. He wants spousal supports from her. And Denise Richards is saying that she does not want to fold to those demands because guess what? And again, trigger warning, I am about to show the photo that she submitted as evidence in court accusing him of DV. So here's the photo. She said that she has a massive bruise on her left eye and that it was caused by Aaron Pfeiffer. Absolutely horrific. It's heartbreaking to see this. She's accusing him of choking her, squeezing her head and arms, slapping her in the face and head, and slamming her head into a towel rack. And there was a certain point where this man allegedly got so paranoid that houseplants had listening devices that he hit her in the eye. And that is what you're seeing in this image. When I read that testimony about how like he was paranoid that there were like listening devices in the houseplants, it sounds crazy, right, with anybody else. But if you watch this show and you heard the things that this man was saying on RHOBH, you know that she's telling the truth. Most likely telling the truth, allegedly telling the truth. Don't sue me, Aaron. Because this man was nuts. He was saying this sort of stuff at a dinner with like all the other couples where they were trying to like, get him to explain a little bit of what it is that he does for work because he had this weird pseudo-scientific like fake job, right? And so he's talking about this sort of thing. And everybody was sitting there like, girl, your man is a quack and he's nuts, right? So I do believe what it is that she's accusing him of. But again, I am horrified. I don't get it. Why treat people like this? Why? What is the point of doing this to somebody, right? Again, all of this is alleged right now. But what is the actual point of this? That's terrible. I don't get it. I really don't. Very devastating stuff. I feel for Denise Richards. She did also say that there was another alleged altercation where she suggested that he skip a work trip, and then he grabbed her by the hair, slammed her to the ground, and screamed at her. You guys, wow. I don't even know what to say. You really never know what it is that people are going through behind closed doors, right? I feel like viewers of the show already knew this man was psycho, already knew he was a quack, already knew his work was like fake and scammy and weird, but I didn't know that it was this bad. However, I will also tell you guys that I am not surprised because I've always mentioned it ever since this scene played out on the show. He literally threatened her on the show that he would snatch her up and break her arm. And I've got proof of that. Take a look at this screenshot from the show. He did not get enough heat for this. Like it was brushed under the rug when he said this right on camera. She was telling him that he was hurting her hand because I forgot what they were arguing over, but he snatched her up and wanted to leave, right? I think it was in her beef with Kyle. And she said, ow, 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 you're hurting me. And he says, I am going to crush your effing hand. Stop it. Any man who could do that to you, especially in front of cameras, is capable of a lot worse behind closed doors. And Denise also said that this guy would threaten her reputation, her family, her life, everything, if she were to ever talk about it publicly. And so I also believe that that was the case as well. And you also have to remember that Denise is a big name. She's been in the game for like 20 plus years. She was like a bombshell, right? That every guy wanted in Hollywood and whatnot. And so there was probably a certain level of like shame and embarrassment, even though she shouldn't be. If you were a victim of DV, you have nothing to be ashamed of. You have nothing to be embarrassed of, right? But I think that he was also counting on that. He was probably like, oh, like she's this big actress. She's never going to speak out. Like she doesn't want this kind of drama attached to her name. This is embarrassing for her. But thank God, Denise fought past that and decided to go ahead on the record and speak her truth. Melissa says, I'm on the replay crew, but my sign in life, me and my husband were fighting and I had thrown my ring at him on the side of the road. And I was praying if it meant to be, let me find my ring and there lay my ring. Now I was going to say, let me find my ring. That was my sign this year. We will be married 18 years. Melissa, I was so scared it was gonna go like worse. I was like, oh my God, no, what happened? Thank God. And I'm happy that you guys were able to work through it. And, you know, you're still together, standing strong 18 years later. Wow. That's something out of a telenovela, chica. Found the screenshot right now. Yes, please, Laura. That is crazy. Maybe Instagram, because I'm not on Nazi Musk's Twitter anymore. BY says he was, yeah, exactly. He was very openly abusive on that show. So none of this is surprising. I believe her 100%, and I stand with her 100%. Tadisha says, oh, poor Denise. No woman deserves this. She already went through hell with Charlie Sheen back in the day. Exactly. It's always like one thing after another with Denise. She could never really catch a break. And she seems like such a beautiful person. Like she, you know, my introduction to her was like this reality show. I used to watch the show of her life, and she was talking about her divorce from Charlie. She had moved her father in with her so she could take care of him because he was older. She had adopted like a special needs daughter and everything. Like she just seems like an angel. Like, you know, who's that Disney princess with all like the birds and the animals and all that? Like that kind of a person. So to see that she's constantly being treated like this in her romantic life, like it makes my heart hurt for her. It really does, you know, really sad. Right? And you would think so, like after going through Charlie Sheen, oh my God, oh, like that already is enough to last 3 lifetimes. And so now she finds this guy who seems to even be worse. Like, oof. Gwen says, guys will use us to do everything for them, steal our youth, and then have the audacity to hate us and try to remove us from the world. 3 women per day in my country. Tell it. Isn't that terrible? And, you know, there's this girl that I really like on TikTok. Her name is Adrian. She used to be married to this, she was at 18 when she met this 60-something-year-old, his name was Shafiq. And she was married to him for like 5-6 years. She came from a very abusive household. They married without a prenup and everything. And he was so mean to her throughout that marriage. He had her get all this plastic surgery. He kept telling her she was so fat. Mind you, the girl is like this, right? And just all this stuff. And she finally left him, and he's left her destitute with nothing after this 60-something-year-old man went and picked up a teenager. Like, it's so crazy to me that, you know, I've been following her journey, supporting her, hoping she gets back on her feet, but you got to be careful. And a lot of, like, you know, in like the gold digging world, not that I'm saying she's a gold digger, she was a kid, right? But in the gold digging world, a lot of people are trying to advise the girlies to go and marry without a prenup. No, get it in writing that you better be taken care of if you're going down that sprinkle route, because look, like they will take all of your youth and leave you with nothing. In fact, they'll try to delete you half the time, man. Like it's, you know, you can never pull one over on somebody like that. It's so sad. It really is. You got to be careful and really, really look at the heart of the person you're with. That's the most important thing. Don't let him be broke. But look for good character and look for a good heart. Gwen says, not to mention all the women living in isolation. Yeah, to keep a man baby from losing their ish. Exactly. Listen, they're not worth it. They're really not. I'm sorry, but they're not worth it. Nikki says, if I remember correctly, her youngest daughter is nonverbal. She's probably seen so much but can't tell anyone. You see? She's gone through so much already in life, Denise. She really, really has. And so I'm devastated for her. And I hope that she gets justice in this. And I hope that she doesn't have to pay that scrub. Not even a penny. A penny would be too much for him. And I mean that. I'm not joking. By the way, he has come out, Aaron has come out to deny the allegations. And he says that he's the one with the real evidence. And he says that Denise Richards is just trying to protect her image with a fabricated story. This man suffers from some kind of, in my alleged opinion, I believe he suffers from some kind of like break with reality or psychosis or something. Like it's actually scary. Like, yikes, right? Good luck to you, Denise. We're all in your corner, girl. Like, oh my God, I hate that for her. Listen, nothing sucks the life out of you, the soul, the energy out of you like a bad relationship, right? Be very careful, y'all. Poor Denise. Let's get into the 90-Day Fiancé story, okay? Speaking of bad relationships. So Leida and Eric, they were arrested for DV and whatnot. And then their 5-week-old daughter also wound up passing away, as announced by Eric on his Facebook page. And then shout out to starcasm.net for this exclusive and breaking this story. Leida, who always had black hair, all of a sudden suspiciously turns up in a mugshot with freshly dyed blonde hair. Let's get into this story, okay? Because it's very, very insidious. She's 36 years old, by the way. So she was booked just yesterday morning before 9 a.m. in Wisconsin. She was still out on bond from her January arrest for domestic disorderly conduct and mistreatment of an animal, right? After that altercation I was telling you about with her husband, Eric. And the police confirmed that they're investigating the passing of her daughter, her 5-week-old daughter. And it kind of looks like she was trying to flee the United States with the disguise and everything. Mind you, she was with her son as well when she was picked up. And so now the police want a copy of her. They want her passport, actually. They said she is a flight risk at this point. We need to seize her passport immediately before she goes back to Malaysia to escape this investigation. Listen, do you guys remember we were kind of speculating, but not really because it was such a touchy subject? Now, after this arrest and seeing that mugshot of hers, yikes. Again, let's see what this document that Starcasm managed to pull out. So it is the state of Wisconsin versus Leida Margaretha. Pursuant to Wisconsin statute, the state requests that the defendant's conditions of release be modified as follows: that the defendant surrender her passport and the defendant's travel be restricted to the state of Wisconsin. The basis for the state's request is that law enforcement has obtained information through the course of separate investigation, which suggests that the defendant intends to leave the country. Specifically, the defendant has directly stated to law enforcement that she was obtaining a passport for her minor child to return to Indonesia. Based on these statements and due to the serious nature of a separate investigation, there are serious concerns that the defendant is a flight risk and will make herself unavailable for court proceedings in the near future. So there you go. Additionally, the state requests that this matter be placed on the court's calendar as soon as possible. Leida, she always gave like sociopathic vibes. Like she was so ugly I'm not talking about physically. She was so ugly to her husband's daughter. Do you guys remember the way she treated her husband's daughter like crap at the bottom of her shoe? She was so arrogant about it. Like she's a truly evil person. So I'm not surprised at all by the way that her life has turned out in the United States. She was already a mess in Malaysia. She had a lengthy criminal history there already. So just to see that she's come here, not here, what am I talking about here? That she's gone to the US and continue to be the degenerate that she is. Wow. And it's like our Al says, you're dyeing your hair after your 5-week-old daughter passed away? Have you buried or cremated your daughter yet? This is what you're focused about and you're getting passports and stuff? Girl. The alarm bells are ringing. This is terrifying, devious behavior, right? I think she's guilty too, Lex. I'm sorry. I hate to say it, but I think that she is guilty too. Leader trying to pull a Scott Peterson. Yup. The judge gave her a temporary restraining order. Oh, this is about to Denise. Thank you, BY. That's true. I forgot to say that. The judge did give her the temporary restraining order. Keep an eye on this story, you guys. I think for now it's still niche to the 90-Day Fiancé community, but I think the contents of this story are so just eerie that I do believe that it's going to become front page news eventually in the true crime scene. Very, very scary stuff. Leida is a scary person. By the way, Gwen, I wanted to get to your comment before I forget, okay? So Gwen was saying, did you hear that the prosecutor for both Diddy and the Epstein was fired by our Department of Non-Justice? So yeah, I did hear about it. Some people are trying to make it seem like, oh, she's fired because she didn't do a good job and like, she wasn't able to make her charges against Diddy stick. But then other people are saying, well, her father is involved with investigating the Epstein stuff. And so this might be a retaliatory thing, like, because they don't want, well, Trump and his cronies over there, they do not want for the Epstein files or anything like that to get out. So maybe they're just cleaning up house that way. What do you guys think about that? BY says her husband's daughter was right about her. Absolutely. And it's just so sad to see people put random like spouses and partner, boyfriends, girlfriends, whatever, over their actual kids. We saw this with David and Annie as well. and other people, were like, they were never there in their kids' lives. Their kids express certain concerns. And then instead they choose like these random new, people that they've imported to be with them. Like it's sad. It's really, really sad to see. And, Annie was a good person. She didn't like get in between, but I do remember there being some drama. I had this video that went so viral. It was when Annie was talking in, where is she Thai? She was talking in Thai to like her family member, like, yeah. And his daughter, she F's like a rabbit. No, she breeds like a rabbit. It was the funniest thing ever. Oh my God. Listen, it was absolutely hilarious, right? Gwen says, yep, they're defending Epstein, Trump, and Diddy. Why would Trump have floated a Diddy pardon if he wanted the guy convicted? Exactly. It's also dirty. The corruption has gotten really, really bad there. Listen, corruption has always existed everywhere, but it's gotten really bad for you guys lately. So listen, I'm keeping y'all in my prayers. Did you guys hear, speaking of America, did you guys hear that your first ever scientific refugees have arrived in France? So now, because of your president and whatnot, and him just trying to wage war against the sciences, people who are scientists, especially high-ranking scientists, have become refugees, like literal refugees. Like they just cut. It's just hallucinant. It's like, what? Am I dreaming? Like, what the hell is this? What's happened? Anyway, that's a story for another time. Acacia had also said earlier, Chris effed around and found out. He thought he was different. He found out about Petty Betty like the rest of them. Only difference is Chris is the love of her life. Exactly. I don't feel bad for him. You were messing with a married woman, and you had access to how this woman moves by virtue of her TV show, and you chose to knock her up. Too bad, so sad. Too bad, so sad. RL says, prosecutor firing DEF has fascist Trump written all over it, period. That's all it comes down to. Listen, maybe you guys qualify to be refugees. Like, it sounds like hell over there. Come, we'll welcome you with the arms wide open. They just canceled another late night show for not, oh Lord, it's bad. It's definitely bad for you. So I really do feel for you guys. Like, I don't know what I would do if I lived there. I'm sorry, guys. I am. I'm really hoping that things look up eventually, though. It's been a rough few months. It's felt like years, but it's only been a few months. You guys, why don't we get into Simon Guobadia suing his ex-wife, Porsha Williams? Do y'all remember when Porsha was like kind of low-key accusing him of having erectile dysfunction? She didn't name him, but it was very obvious she was talking about him. Well, he's suing her for that for $500,000. And he says that the post she made on Instagram caused him emotional distress and harmed his reputation. And Porsha's legal team has already responded by saying that the post never mentioned Simon by name and only referenced a common men's health issue. And then her lawyer also argued that the post used the hashtag men's health awareness and were general in nature and not defamatory. So, of course, they are asking to dismiss the lawsuit. Listen, I don't feel bad for Porsha. This guy is trash, but when you play dirty the way that Porsha does, right? Porsha has a long history of dating, sleeping with whatever, with married men. So that was eventually bound to catch up with her, right? We already knew about the old dictator from somewhere in Africa years ago who bought her the Rolls Royce. That we know about the Simon situation, right? That was messy on both sides, but so long as you're messy on your side, the karma will hit you. Fallon's karma is ending up with someone that's just way too young and inexperienced for her, and whatever else will come next. But this is Porsha's karma. Just the legal battles with this guy. He's not letting that divorce go easily. He's challenging the settlement, and now he's trying to sue her. This costs her money to fight in court. This costs her time. Like, this guy is her worst nightmare. And this is the thing, like, you have to look at people's character. It's not just about money. And that's the problem with girls like Porsha who only look at money, right? A man who's been divorced 3-4 times or whatever is probably not the guy that you should be rushing to marry. A man that's courting you while he's got a wife at home is not the man you should be rushing to marry. A man that jokes about or is actually serious about the fact that he's got movers on speed dial because he always throws the women, aka mothers of his children, out when he's done with them, that's not a man that you should be getting with. That is a man that's going to make your life hell. You sat there and laughed and watched when he degraded, harassed, stalked his wife on social media. You thought it was funny. You thought you were special. You thought you were different. But now look, at least with Fallon, he wasn't dragging her through the courts. He was just trolling her. But with Porsha, he's trolling you and running you through the courts, running your pockets. it's like Nene says, you will never win when you play dirty. And I hope that this is finally a lesson for Porsha. Oh, Lord have mercy. A whole mess. I know she regrets this, but she needed to go through this lesson so that she could finally wake up. But I don't think that she's woken up, because she's still over here on that show joking about screwing people's husbands, Angela's husband, Charles, and whatnot. She's never going to grow up. She's never going to wake up. She's always going to be a reckless, lay it low, spread it wide type of chick for $1. Even though she's got money. You've got money. What are you so desperate for? I don't understand it. Anyway, Tadisha says Porsha married for money and Simon married her because she's beautiful and trophy wife type. Exactly. They both went into it for selfish reasons, which again, it's okay. People marry for all kinds of reasons, but you have to look at the character of people. He doesn't have a good character and neither does she. So of course, this did not work out. Right. And they're both insulting each other. Nikki says, you would think after being deported, he would go sit down somewhere and stay out the way, but he just can't help himself. Exactly. This man is going to have Porsha on his mind forever. And he wants to destroy her public reputation. He wants to stop her from working in television. So he's just going to keep on doing it as much as possible. And it's sad. But again, you knew he was trash when you got with him. So what were you expecting? Womp, womp, womp. And thank you, Tina. Listen. People need to look a little bit deeper than just one thing. Don't be so one-track minded when figuring out or deciding on who you want to spend your life with, especially when you have a child involved. The way she rushed her daughter into that relationship with him too was very, very weird. Now, speaking of very, very weird, we're going to talk about Tracee Ellis Ross. Do you guys remember Diana Ross's daughter? She's launching this new television show about her traveling and whatnot. And I thought that this would be interesting to talk about one of the sound bites from an interview she did with Travel and Leisure, at the summit in New York City. She said that she only brings 2 pairs of underwear on her trips. And she always has one bathing suit, flip-flops, and one little dress that she can roll up. How long are her trips if you have literally one outfit, one bathing suit, and 2 pairs of underwear? Because I'll tell you, I don't know what it is, but when I'm traveling, I might even wear 3 different pairs of panties in a day. So the idea, one for the plane ride, one for the activity. And then if I'm doing something later, like a dinner later, I'm going to change into a different type of panty because my activity panty might be a granny panty or like a boy short panty. And then my dinner panty is going to be a thong, So the idea of just having 2 is kind of crazy to me. I don't think there's anything wrong with washing them in the hotel or whatever, especially if it's a long trip. But only having 2 is crazy to me because that's weird. One is just for the airport when you're going, right? That's crazy to me. I don't get it. Right? You wear it to the airport, you get to your place, you shower, you start your day. And obviously after you shower, you want to wear a new, or maybe she has a lot of liners or something, because that could be a thing, right? If you're using panty liners, maybe you don't need to change them. You just change the liner. But it was very fascinating to me. And also fascinating, aside from just having 2 pairs of panties, is that it's only one bathing suit, 1 pair of shoes, which is the flip-flops, and 1 dress. I don't believe her because Tracee Ellis Ross is kind of famous for her flamboyant taste, sense of fashion. So as you see in this image, very bright yellow, right? She likes bright colors, bright patterns. There's no way. This is not somebody who wears a capsule wardrobe where one dress could be worn in milk. No, each outfit in her closet is a statement piece that's not going to be transformed. Right. So I don't believe her. Here's the thing with rich people or famous people. Sometimes they talk just to talk. They imagine that this is how regular people travel or whatever. And so they just say things sometimes they're not telling the truth. Just say, I don't, they're not telling. I don't believe her. I'm calling cap on this, y'all. I think she's lying. I think she's trying to be relatable. Right. I loved that show too. She was really good as Joan. And Acacia, maybe you're right. Maybe that's the difference. Maybe she buys things when she's there. But who wants to go buy underwear? I get wanting to buy clothes while you're there, but who wants to go looking for underwear when you're away on your vacation? That's the last thing I'm trying to buy. I want to buy new clothes that match the vibe of where I'm at, but underwear, I don't know. But this is a good guess. Maybe that's what's happening. I don't know. Right? Ramster likes her on Blackish. She's good as, what is it? Rainbow Bow on that show. That was my first thought. I changed my underwear frequently, even though exactly, right? Listen, coochies could be overactive sometimes, hyperactive, right? You got to change that stuff once in a while. I agree, Grace, right? it's so funny because in your day-to-day life, you're wearing one pair typically, unless you're going out later with friends or whatever. But like on vacation, for some reason, you got to change all the time. Great, Kristen. There's no reason you can't bring more, right? They take up no space. And that's the thing. The girl, listen, she's not your regular girl who's going to be like, oh, like, I don't want to pay for checked baggage because it's so expensive. Like she could bring like 20 checked baggage. So what is she being so like, all of this fits not even in like a one carry-on suitcase. This is enough stuff for a purse. Like a regular purse, like, you know, the purses we used to walk around with in the 2010s, like to do everything like that. This could fit in that. So what is the reason? I don't believe her. I think she's just talking. Max says, I always pack 2 pairs of panties per day. You see, I'm the same way. Yes, I love changing my panties on vacation. Gwen says, if I were famous, I'd pull a Daniel Radcliffe and wear the same damn clothes. So people stop taking pics of me. You know what? That would be really smart, but I feel like it'd be so boring too. Tracee loves travels light. Perhaps she purchases items. You know, here's the thing. If she's telling the truth, I would like to see this on her show. I don't, you know, like, I don't see it. But again, it might be like Acacia was saying that she likes to buy things while she's there. Sometimes you find some really cool things when you're there. She's talking about the purse panties, the suitcase. Like, listen, I don't know what she's talking about. I think she's lying. Hey, Faye, nice to see you, boo. Welcome to the Playback Posse. So nice to see you. Oh, Gwen, that's your daughter's middle name. It's such a classic, elegant name. It's bougie. Are y'all rich? This gives bougie vibes. If she's telling the truth, I want her to be sitting next to her mother as she discloses this about herself. And I think that, yeah, Diana Ross, the diva that she is, she probably travels with like 20 like checked baggages. She'd probably be like, ew, like, what are you talking about? Even regular people don't travel this light. Like, she's trying to relate, but then she's like, it's like you're taking the piss at this point, Tracee. Like, even we don't travel this light. Like, we could buy clothes, come on, you know, like, grab a, I'm telling you. Macaroni in a pot, girl. I don't know what it is, but when I travel, I'm just so like, I have to change all the time. Now, you know, it's just like a thing. You're like, I want to be fresh at all times, you know, like, I don't know. And, you know, when I'm traveling in the summer, because remember here, like AC is not really a thing, right? And you're out and about. So for example, when we were with my girl, Julie in Mallorca, we were sweating like crazy. We were showering like 3 times a day. Like, we were showering so much, you know? So, and then going into the shower, coming out wearing the same panties that you went, like, no, right? Like, anyway, maybe she's got liners. I'm going to give her the benefit of the doubt, but I think the story is like cap. I think this is typical. I want to be relatable. Is this how the poors do it, sort of a thing? And I don't appreciate it. Why don't we get into our Wendy Williams story, y'all? This is a very juicy, long episode of the Morning Report. I'm having a great time with you guys, by the way, but we got to get into the Wendy Williams story. Then we got to get into Lindsie Chrisley changing her last name. And then we're going to wrap this up with our Luigi Mangione. Ooh, I spoiled the surprise. New Luigi photo just dropped. And we're going to talk about that and the latest argument from his legal team. Again, we go live with the Morning Report every single weekday morning at 10 a.m. Eastern Standard Time to talk about the day's hottest stories. So I will be seeing you guys again on Monday after the weekend break. And if you're enjoying today's episode, please don't hesitate to go ahead and give it a thumbs up so YouTube knows that you're enjoying my content, okay? So Wendy Williams was celebrating her birthday in New York with her Wendy show producer, Suzanne. And she also had her attorneys with her. And when TMZ caught up with her, listen, Wendy called TMZ. Let's go and say this. I'm not saying this to judge her, right? It was backgrid. And Wendy really wants it to continue to be known that she is not happy in her conservatorship, which is fair. I would do the same, right? She's a prisoner. But she called backgrid. And then they asked her questions about what she wanted for her birthday. And so, of course, she said, out of my conservatorship. I'm here with Suzanne, and this is my attorney. So listen, behind the scenes, Wendy is still doing everything that she can to escape from this predatory, evil, exploitative conservatorship. I'm happy that she had the opportunity to go out. By the way, she turned 61 years old, but I'm sad that she would even have to ask permission to be able to leave that evil tower surveillance system that she has been stuck in, right? Gail says, oh, by the way, Rason says, oh, maybe she doesn't wear undies. Oh my God. You know, I envy you girlies who don't wear undies. I can't do it. I can't do it. I think I've tried it with some very tight like dresses where like anything you wear gives you a line, but oh Lord, that stresses me out. Maybe she does fall into that category. Maybe she does. Yael says, I'm going with my husband this morning, Saturday morning. He's having a CT scan again. Our family doctor, she wants to make sure my husband passed his kidney stone. We're going to keep him in our thoughts and prayers, Gail. Hopefully everything goes well for him and you guys get some good news from your appointment, or his appointment, I should say. Jalisa says, I'm supposed to go to Roma to Rome for Love. Do you guys remember that show that came out on like Bravo or something? You can find it on Hey You. It's these Black girls that went to Italy, Rome specifically, to like date or something. I liked that show. It was funny. A bit embarrassing, but funny. I don't know yet because injuries, and I'm stressed because weather and lack of AC. I'm hot. I'm a hot butt. Yeah, it's hot, girl. It's hot, and that's even further south than here. So if I'm hot here in 30 degrees, oh, let me see what it's like in Rome right now. It's probably hot as balls. And the thing is, when you're on vacation, you walk around, you move so much more than like you do in real life, right? Regular life. Yeah, 30s, and it's going to like 34 degrees, girl. But you know what? Just think of all of the apparel spritz that you can have, to cool yourself down. Or maybe limoncello or something like that. I think I prefer limoncello. Apparel spritz to me tastes like antibiotic cough syrup or something like that. And yeah, Wendy right now, she still has to ask permission to leave and do things that she wants. So she's still technically a prisoner, unfortunately. And I agree, B-Wise. I really, really, really do like Suzanne for Wendy. And I'm happy that she is still in Wendy's corner as well. I'm happy that Wendy has people to celebrate with. I wonder if she's still in touch with her son or not. Because remember, her son, I think, is the one who even got her in this mess to begin with, with his greed. And then he tried to get somebody to impersonate Wendy to have access to her accounts. Her son is sick. Jaleesa says, it's still not for sure because my injuries, I might have to push it back to October. Listen, October would be good because October, it'll still be warm. It'll be 20s. If you go early October anyway, it should be 20s or something like that. So that could be pretty good. I really hope that you're able to get to make your way over there, Jaleesa. Please keep us posted on your adventure. Yes, please. Rome. It sounds so beautiful. Now, why don't we get into the Lindsie Chrisley of it all? Have you guys been keeping up with this? Listen, normally I don't really care to talk about people in Kale's universe independent of her, but this story is so wacky that I just felt like it had to be discussed. So Lindsie Chrisley, the other day, she went and changed her Instagram name from Lindsie Chrisley, not her handle, but in her bio, to Lindsay Landsman. So automatically people assumed that it meant that she had married her boyfriend because she kind of announced the news and everything by sharing a series of photos of her and the boyfriend, her in a white dress and the boyfriend and everything. And then she featured her son in the photo shoot as well. And then the boyfriend was posting these Instagram stories featuring Lindsie with an engagement ring, a big oval one and everything. So it all pointed to an elopement or something like that, a small wedding. Well, now Lindsie, after going through all this trouble, is now saying that no, she and her boyfriend are not married. And by the way, she's clearing up all this stuff on her podcast. She says that they are not married, okay? And she changed her name out of a personal decision to mark a new chapter in her life because she's always struggled with using the Chrisley last name because of the baggage associated with it, the assumptions, and it has even cost her some professional opportunities as well, with businesses saying that she should go by a different name because they do not want to be associated with the Chrisleys because remember, her parents are scammers, right? Alleged scammers. That's why they went to prison. So yeah, here's my thing. Okay, if you want to distance yourself from your family name, have at it. But to do that by choosing your random, how long has she been with this boyfriend? Listen, y'all know I suffer through that Coffee Convos podcast every week for you, right? She was broken up with this man 2 months ago. She and Kale were, commiserating over their breakups. So for her to pop up saying, oh, actually, we're unbroken up. And now I'm taking his last name. And he's just a random boyfriend of a couple months. And here's a photo shoot of me with a white dress. And here's my child. Wait, why do you think we're married? What gave you that impression? I'm oh, so now I see it. So she and Kale, they're both unwell. That's what it comes down to. They're both unwell. This is so fascinating. Y'all know I love a good train wreck, right? This is crazy. Why wouldn't she just use her middle name? Does Lindsie Chrisley not have a middle name? Because if that's what I wanted to do to distance myself from my last name, I wouldn't pick my random boyfriend's name. I'm my own woman, right? I would either invent a new last name, like a stage name, or I would choose my middle name. The thought of doing this and then doing this big photo shoot, making it seem like it's an engagement shoot and then involving your child in it is absolutely ludicrous to me, but in the best way possible. Like, it's giving housewife, like insane, like Real Housewife type stuff, right? So she says that changing her last name is not about erasing the past. It's about protecting what I love most. And if and when I get married, I'll absolutely share it publicly. And here's the weird thing about her is that in the most recent episode of Coffee Convos, which I aired this week, she said that she never wants to get married again and that she doesn't want the government involved in her relationship. So what is all this? Why are you doing the marital tradition of taking the man's last name if you don't want to be married again? Interesting. Very interesting. And this is a good point, Rosan. Why not take your maternal family name? I know she's estranged from her mother, but at least, like, you know, like, that's a name that's not tarnished in the media right now. Why the boyfriend, right? And the relationship, exactly. They're on and off. They just broke up a little bit ago. What is this? This is so freaking weird, right? I'm telling you. Acacia says, bye, Wendy. Bye, Lindsie. I'm telling you, she's so crazy. It's hilarious. Rachel. Hey, Rachel, how are you? I'm on the replay and on the affair story. I had a feeling something was up with my ex who I'd been with for 8 years. Sure enough, I got, if it were me, I would want to know message. There you go. Listen, if ever you're feeling like your intuition, just ask for a sign. Stay still, meditate with the intention of getting a sign. Just ask the universe, God, whatever. You will get that sign within the week, typically within 24 to 48 hours, 72 even. Tina says they're both unwell. Exactly. Like, now I get it. Because I used to be like, Lindsie, like, she's just, to me, she's the opposite of Kale, right? Like, she grew up rich. She's like just so a certain way, like perfectionist, just one child, marriage before children, all about being as thin as possible. And then to me, Kale represents like everything, and she, you know, all about health and this. And then Kale to me is like the complete opposite, the tattoos versus no tattoos. And then, so I was always like, what do they have in common? Like, I don't get it. Like, does she not secretly judge? Like, what is this? And now seeing it, I'm like, oh, girl, you're both insane. Thank you for clearing it up. I've been wondering this for years. Now I get it. Wow. Wow, wow, wow. Right? So let's see. What was the next one? Facts though, right? Listen, did I lie? Did I freaking lie? No. And again, I agree with you, Rosan. Why not take your maternal family name? Why not use your middle name? Why not invent something? Like, why do we always have to belong to somebody as women, right? Like, stand on your own. Like, really, your random boyfriend that you broke up with 2 months ago? And you're welcome, RL. I got you, boo. Ramster says frivolous stuff for frivolous people. I'm telling you. And then to call like a press conference about it on your podcast too, and then to act so surprised that people think you got married. And then on your Coffee Convos podcast to say you don't want to get married, you know, don't get the government involved in your relationship. And then you're saying if and when I do, as in you are blind. And where did that engagement ring come from? Like, all of this is absolutely insane. And I really appreciate her for like driving me nuts with this. Like, wow, this is fascinating. Like, I finally understand what the connection is between these two girls. Anyway, y'all, we're on to our final story of the day. We have got to talk about Luigi Mangione, our man. So do you remember that guy who deleted the CEO of the healthcare company who was deleting people by refusing to provide coverage for them? Well, there's a new photo of him that just dropped. So shout out to the photographer. Here he is in prison with his friends. Hi, Luigi. And here's our update on him. So his lawyers are accusing the prosecutors in his case of violating HIPAA by secretly obtaining his private medical records. And so this was done in a letter filed yesterday by attorney Karen Friedman Egnafilio, where she alleges that prosecutors used a fraudulent subpoena to have access to Mangione's health information from Aetna. And in the subpoena, they alleged that prosecutors bypassed proper legal channels and allowed prosecutors to review privileged documents without court approval. Oh, Lord. Luigi's team says that this act violated doctor-patient confidentiality and was a calculated attempt to prevent the defense from knowing sensitive information was being gathered. And so now Luigi's team is calling for a court hearing to request sanctions against the prosecution for what they claim was underhanded behavior. What do you guys think about this? I know his team has said some things to try and get this case thrown out on technicalities, but so far it has not worked. For example, the bag that Luigi had on him when he was arrested, they're also saying that that was improperly seized and searched as well. But, you know, seeing as he is still in custody, that has not yet stuck yet. So I'm hoping that something sticks and that Luigi is able to walk from this. But remember, we were just talking about how corrupt things have become over there, right? And somebody deleting a healthcare CEO and being able to walk free would go against everything that they're trying to enforce in people, which is that you should be fearful and that you can spend the rest of your life in prison, right? They really want like a police state sort of a deal, right? So I don't see them allowing him to walk on any kind of technicality. I don't know that this is going to be even a fair trial. Keisha says if that's the case, you should exactly, you know, keep your last name with your husband, your ex-husband, Campbell or something like that. You know, that would be weird. Oh. Because imagine like, you know, his girlfriend, all of a sudden you hear his baby mom. This is why it's so hard sometimes dating single parents. But oh Lord, can you imagine like you're dating a single parent, a man, single dad, and then his ex-wife all of a sudden changes her name to his name. Acacia says copay bay. Yup, that's our copay bay. This is one man I do not mind sharing. Anyone else? Hell no, like Jason, for example. But this one, I'll share. He's our man. Lindsie was so close to getting the point and it still flew over her head. Exactly. Lord. Kahara says, did y'all see that the government is forcing marriage on people if you've been together for 5 years? I saw that. The government is recognizing it as common law marriage. I'm wondering how people are going to navigate that, right? Because there are people who go, oh, like, it's too expensive to get married. That's why we're not getting married. Well, now that it's going to be an automatic thing, what's people's new excuse going to be? You know, and I'm not talking about people who really, truly do not want to get married. I'm talking about people who have all sorts of excuses for why they don't want to marry the person they're with. Are relationships going to stop lasting 5 years? Like they're going to break up at 4.5 years and start over? And is it like 5 years of habitation? Like, how did they know? Right? Very, very fascinating stuff. I don't know, Grace. He has point blank delete. Listen, that's what people are claiming, but he wasn't there. Like I've hung out with him before and he was here with me. I'm pretty sure I have to go back through my photos, but he was here with me in Paris when this alleged incident went down. I think he's being framed. Or else it's not Luigi doing the prison kneeling pose, right? Look at him. Let me put that picture back up. Our man. Oh. I'm just joking around, sir. Well, you know what the thing is with people? Maybe, just maybe, he could have potentially, right? If he's not being framed, you know, but he was sending a message and the CEO had deleted so many people through greed. What he allegedly did or didn't do is not right. However, I do see why people see him as sort of like a martyr for a cause. If he did it though, right? But I don't think he did. I think that's the guy I was hosting here, you know, when it happened last year. Luigi doing the, yeah. Is that his boyfriend from prison? Listen, no, Luis doesn't have a prison boyfriend. He's got so many girlfriends on the outside. He doesn't need that. But you know what? Maybe that's his protector inside. You know, I think that when you are high profile, people like to kind of clamor towards you to like provide protection or whatever. So that could be his protection or his street cred on the inside. Acacia says, Grace, he was there with you. Exactly. I'm pretty sure we might have been wrestling or something when all this went down, y'all. Kahara says, I've been with my guy over 14 years and I don't want to get married, but I guess according to the government, I'm married. Ooh, and is this like a thing like federally or is it only in specific states? I don't know. I don't know why they're doing all this. Like, what benefit does it serve to the government if you're married versus unmarried? Because I know why they're trying to get people to have kids, right? They want new worker bees for their system. And right now we're not providing enough worker bees. However, when it comes to marriage, what do they care? Like, what difference does it make to them whether or not people are married? I don't get it. Sorry, let me go back to Gwen. And then I'll come back to you, Ramster. Remember that the McDonald's worker not only never got that reward money, they also got fired. Don't carry water for the wealthy. Exactly. How embarrassing. Embarrassing. Did all that for nothing. right? Ramster says, I know and sort of understand, but we can't stoop to the low level of CEOs and consorts. And I can agree with that too. I can agree with that, Ramster. Or else the CEO used AI to deny claims. Sorry, not sorry. See, the people are just, people have a hard time feeling sorry for somebody who just doesn't care to save people's lives and who makes it difficult, for people to receive healthcare and to keep people alive. So many people have been killed, because of these denials. Rasom says, and suffered for many years. It's a free-for-all here now. Our government just granted ICE access to Medicaid records. Don't see them getting through with the HIPAA violation crime. Oof, ouch. I also remember there was this big thing where they were urging women to delete the Flow app. Y'all, I love the Flow app. I use that to track my cycle. And so they were saying because they don't want, they want to control like your reproductive health and whatnot. So even there, like you guys, it's a risk for you to be using that app, any cycle tracking app. Like, listen, I don't know what the heck is going on. Like, I'm scared for you. Like, how the hell did y'all vote for this twice? Like, are people okay? Acacia says it's always about money with the government. Exactly. Very, very sad stuff. But listen, y'all, on a positive note, we had like 2 hours for today's morning report, which was so freaking fun. I do want to leave it on this note with the message that Gwen had sent earlier that I didn't get to respond to. She says, I qualify for citizenship in a few places, in a few ways, but I'm loath to quit on the country my ancestors built. My dad's mom family have been here since 1644. Lord, I see what you mean about that too, right? Like, it's hard. It's not easy. Picking up and moving countries is not easy at all. And it's not for everybody. And it's sad that some people have to think about this, not as like a joy thing. For me. It was like, I live in a great country. Canada's amazing, but I just wanted to try something new, but for some other people, like it's sad that it's a decision as survival or, or censorship or this or that. Very, very sad. And so I feel for you, Gwen, and then everybody else who has had to flee their country, not move because they wanted to. Very, very sad stuff. But you guys, thank you so much for spending the best 2 hours with me here on this beautiful Friday afternoon. I am just really thrilled that we got to have such a big, juicy morning report episode today. And you're right, RL, listen, that's the thing. Listen, y'all, Black Americans tried to have your backs and then everybody else voted in a different direction. Oh, God bless. Not everybody else, but the majority of everybody else, which is, very, very, very sad. Gail says, my husband is retired from the military Navy. He is a veteran. Oh my goodness gracious. What a beautiful service that he did to the country. And again, good luck to him on his appointment tomorrow. Okay. Gail, please keep us updated next week when we come back for another episode of the Morning Report. We go live every single weekday morning at 10 a.m. Eastern Standard Time to talk about the day's hottest stories. So I will see you guys again after the weekend. Have a fantastic weekend. Thank you all again so much for being here and enjoy the rest of your day as well. Gros bisous à vous tous et ciao. Bisous. Bye guys.